Check out each page. It needs to be different.
Chaotic. What I'd like to do is give them an opportunity to find the public comments that you can take about a couple of minutes to do that, and then we'll get started, and then we'll start. Because you can sign up for public comment prior to the meeting. So if there's anyone who has not signed up again, that you would like to sign up for public comment, please feel free to do so at this time. Again, hello everyone, and to those, if there's someone who wants to be, thank you for joining the LCC Board of Trustees meeting for November 18th. And Duncan, could you call the roll, please?
Here. Here. Here.
Here.
Here.
Before we advance to the Pledge of Allegiance, I want to do this first. I'm going to do a little bit in reverse order. A moment of silence. There has been some transitions within families, and so some families are experiencing loss at this particular point in time. There's a couple that's named on the board agenda. However, there may be others that we are not aware of. A moment of silence first, and then we will have a Pledge of Allegiance by Vice Chair Lawrence Delgado. So please, a moment of silence. Thank you so much. Vice Chair Delgado.
like the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, liberty and justice for all.
We are moving on to item number 4 for our special recognition, and this is honoring Mr. Richard L. Allen. He is the 2024 Veteran Memorial inductee, and he is also a 50-year employee of Lansing Community College. And so if you would please stand, Mr. Allen, so that we can recognize you. Now, we're going to offer you an opportunity to say something if you like. If some- Mrs. Allen, like now. To say something, your story is remarkable and it is also heart-touching. And so, just thank you for your service. Thank you for being here at LCC for, 50, a little bit over 50 years. It's just amazing. When I heard it, it was just only the right thing to do for us. So go ahead.
I thank you for the recognition and it's been a pleasure working in the actually still next spring of the 52 years. So, and maybe a couple more after that, but I can guarantee the light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm not going to stay forever, but I've enjoyed it and one of the things that like college, the movers that I worked for, and so far it's been yes, so I put another year in, so I thank you and appreciate it. Oh, did you get a picture?
Oh, okay. Oh, do you have a picture with the celebrity of the evening? Oh, well, that's.
Yeah.
Is he losing?
Yes, good.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Like that they could leave right after that. But Chair Matthews, if I could, now that Rich has stepped out, Rich was there for the entire Veterans Service recognition. And I would like to add into the record, Congresswoman and Senator-elect Slotkin, her office prepared one of the nicest recognitions I've ever seen from the U.S. Congress about Rich's service. Just very briefly, Chair Matthews, thank you and the trustees for recognizing him. Not only is he a 50-year employee here at LCC, Rich became an LCC student employee and then an employee after 2 tours of duty in Vietnam. And he's been an incredible employee who has seen the beginning and the ending of many IT systems here at LCC. And one of the things that community colleges are known for is the longevity of employees. Doesn't get much higher than 52, though. And so it was, thank you for recognizing one of our own. And we did give him a very thorough recognition. Our veteran services folks did that last week. So thank you for honoring him again.
On to agenda item number 5. Approval of meeting minutes for October 28, 2024, the regular Board of Trustees meeting, as well as November 9, 2024, Board of Trustees retreat. Is there a motion? The motion to approve these minutes? It's been moved by Trustee Thomas and supported by Vice Chair Hidalgo that the approval of meeting minutes for October 2028, 24 regular Board of Trustees meeting, as well as November 9, 2024 Board of Trustees retreat. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan, would you call the roll? Yes.
Yeah.
I approve the minutes for November 9th, 2024. I was not present for the October meeting of the board, so I abstained from that.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
I think this is a good spot to say congratulations to those who ran a great campaign of election for the Board of Trustees. We have 2 that retained their seats on the board, Trustee Frazier, Trustee Garcia, and as well as we have Trustee-elect that's with us this evening, Trustee-elect Hope Lavelle. So we thank Trustee-elect Lavelle. Would you kindly stand, please? Would you like to have a brief word? Okay, gotcha. Okay, all right. Your gracious smile tells it all. All right. All right, moving on to item number 6, additions and deletions to the agenda.
Chair Matthews, with your permission, I'd like to suggest an addition, a change to the agenda this evening. And that would be, we have 2 public comments, one for agenda items and one for general. And I'd like to request that we move item 15, public comment, back 2 spaces before unfinished business. We certainly have public comment this evening. But one of the closed session topics is something we'd like to brief the trustees about. So if we could move, I'm requesting that the board move public comment forward in the agenda to after linkage and planning implementation.
Okay, so public comment is moved under the foundation and the closed session is where it is. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm sorry. I have completely misspoken. What I would like to do is move closed session that way. So that is item 17, closed session to after linkage and planning. The idea being that the closed session would precede the public comment. So closed session move forward to after linkage and planning implementation. I had written that down completely wrong.
Colleagues, are there any objections to that? Hearing none. Closed session is being moved up and will come after the foundation report. Trustee Thomas. All right. Okay. Moving right along to limited public comment regarding agenda items only. Regarding agenda items only, anyone signed up? Ms. Duncan? Patrick, do you have anyone that's signed up in the virtual space? Okay, thank you.
Seeing none, we move on to the president's report. I'll turn this over to Dr. Robinson.
Thank you, Chair Matthews. Good evening, trustees.
Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. I always start off my oral president's report by highlighting the written president's report. It's online, archived back since we started it, and it's in this great flipping book. And by the way, shout out to all the folks in marketing who lay out this wonderful document. It's really well done. See our Paralympian JC Simon on the cover. What a great event. I always like to highlight some things on the inside cover. Trustees, we're back-to-back national champions in cross-country, men's cross-country. Some other highlights in here, and I thought I saw Betsy Berger. On page 16, we had a Halloween costume contest. And the administrative team in HHS dressed up as rock, paper, scissors. So if you look at page 16, you'll see them. I saw them walking through the Gannon building. That was a very creative costume. Also, a lot of great information, but one other piece. Our Office of Empowerment has relaunched our one book program, Reading to Belong is the title. And we're highlighting a number of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging readings. That information's on page 29, but everything is online. So just a few oral things, Chair Matthews and the board. I do want to thank you for recognizing in a moment of silence the loss of Trustee Garcia's brother and also my father-in-law. And I did want to talk about my father-in-law for just a moment. I wrote about my father-in-law, Mike Neerink, in my application for this position because he was one of our very first students at LCC. He graduated from high school in 1958. No one in his family had gone to college. And in 1958, there was this brand new thing in Lansing, Michigan called Lansing Community College. And he followed some friends here, got an associate's degree, transferred to Michigan State, and transformed an entire generation of a family. He got a degree in packaging from MSU and had a number of children all have professional degrees. And I think of Mike as one of our original Envision Green students. And whenever I talk about Envision Green, I always like to talk about this idea that comes from Michigan State. There's an idea in campus planning in higher education called desire paths. The anecdote goes like this. When you build a college campus, don't put the sidewalks in until the students walk across the quad and wear out a trail, and then you put the sidewalk there. That's called a desire path. Our students have been teaching us the kind of programming that they want for decades, and it was Mike and the thousands of students like him who transferred to Michigan State who really gave us the impetus to build Envision Green. So thank you for that moment of silence, everyone. I do want to tag back to an important topic about building access. Patrick, if you could do that slide. There we go. Thank you. So you'll recall a couple meetings ago, I have supported a recommendation from our Administrative Services and Public Safety team that in 2025, we will be ending issuing star cards to alumni and retirees. There's a very strong safety component for that. But I did pledge that what we would do is go back to the drawing board, and I tasked the team with looking at whether we could maintain alternative access for the fitness center. And I just got ahead of schedule the team's recommendation, and there is a pathway to allowing alumni and retirees to maintain use of the fitness center. Details to be worked out, some communications to happen before the end of the year. But I did want to keep the public and the trustees up to date on that. I'm excited about that. It won't be the same as before. We won't be issuing star cards, more to come. But I did want to let folks know that. On the next slide, Chair Matthews, before the board this evening, as is this time of year before we go to DC, is our federal agenda. I want to thank Dr. Glasgow and her entire team, as well as Ron Hamm and DC. We put this document together to be a summary of our legislative priorities at the federal level. Now, this does not require a vote or board approval, but if you come along with us to the National Legislative Summit in February, this is the leave behind that we take into the offices of our senators and our Congress members, and also sometimes folks in the agencies. And we always get lots of great feedback about the federal agenda, and that's before you for information today. Next, you know how excited I am about this. For the fourth year in a row, LCC will be hosting an international event that we call Help Portrait. One of the things I love about this event is how simple it is. Professional photographers on the first Saturday of December set up a pop-up professional portrait studio, and they make portraits for people in need and give them away. It's that simple. This is something that's been going on in the photography community for decades. We've been doing it for 4 years. And for those of us who volunteer on it, it's one of the best days of the year. We see folks come in for a family portrait, and we have a lot of fun, and that is on December 7th. And I want to thank everyone, particularly the folks in my office and their group of volunteers and Ike Lee in photography, for all the work they do to give back in the form of professional photograph for people. It's just a beautiful time. Next, Chair Matthews, this is something you and I have been talking about for a couple of years. Trustees will recall that one of my 3 goals is to intensify transfer pathways, and there was a sub-goal of having a visible and vigorous promotion of HBCU transfer. So we are getting ready to launch an HBCU transfer-specific marketing campaign called I Started at LCC, with billboards and social media and paid media. And I really would like to thank Tanya Cosley, Taylor Riffle, Kevin Fowler, Lane, everybody in that team who's going to be doing vigorous and visible promotion of HBCU transfer in the coming year. And then finally, before we get to Stars Hired, I got some great news on Friday. Trustee Frazier and Trustee Garcia will remember that when I did new trustee orientation, some of the content of my orientation session came from an academic article that my mentor and I were working on about trusteeship. And I also put that content in some training that Trustee Proctor and I delivered at Muskegon Community College for their board. I'm delighted to tell you that Dick and I got our article accepted at Trustee Quarterly, and it will be in the NLS edition in February. So you'll see that everywhere when we're at NLS. Thank you. A little bit about Dick. Dick's been retired for 10 years. He's president emeritus at Mott Community College. He was the 2010 recipient of the ACCT CEO of the Year Award, and my mentor, but also one of the founding faculty members in the Ferris State University DCCL program. So he was the professor of Dr. McCursey and Dr. Samuel, just one of the great old guys of Michigan community colleges. So it's really nice to have an article published with him. And so lastly, Chair Matthews, we really love to introduce our new colleagues in a segment we call Stars Hired. I have one-on-one meetings with all our new employees. And I wonder if any of our newly hired teammates are here this evening. And anybody brand new to LCC and attending tonight? It's never a required performance. At any rate, those are the names of our newer colleagues, Chair Matthews, and that is the end of my president's report.
Moving on to consent agenda action items to my colleagues. Are there any items that you would like to move from the consent agenda for discussion purposes? Seeing none, I would like to read a statement before we go into the motion of Trustee Vague, who is not here tonight. She says, I would like to express to the board and the community my support for both the campus master plan and strategic plan. I also support the revisions to the board governance policy. Thank you to everyone who worked so hard on creating this bold and vision for LCC, and to my fellow board members for all their input in creating this plan. I look forward to watching the future of LCC develop. Thank you, Trustee Vague. So is there a motion to approve consent agenda action items? It's been moved by Trustee Frazier and supported by Vice Chair Hidalgo that we approve or adopt the consent agenda action items. Any discussions? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan, please call the roll.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye. Yes.
Thank you. We're moving on to agenda item number 10, which is the monthly monitoring report. Dr. Robinson.
Thank you, Chair Matthews. The monthly monitoring reports are in your packet. The first one is the federal agenda that I mentioned. Again, this doesn't require board approval. It's before you, and you're going to see a very glossy version of it when we take it to NLS and leave it in our members of Congress office. But certainly happy to address anything or answer any questions. But as I've said before, Dr. Glasgow and the team put this together as a quality leave behind for our face-to-face visits. And the only other thing I'd say, Chair Matthews and trustees, a lot of us, a lot of community colleges go to NLS and visit their lawmakers. And they take with them ACCT's talking points, which we call the green sheet. We have that, but we've always had this additional document of LCC specific legislative and administrative priorities. One of the things that differentiates us. So it's in your packet.
I would just like to, if you have packet number 1 of 2, if you go to page starting on 55, this is where the federal agenda, you will find the federal agenda. And I just want to truly compliment Dr. Glasgow and Ron for, this is an absolutely wonderful agenda that has been put into place. And LCC honestly, truly has some programs that we can brag about. And I want to go to the apprenticeship in particular, which is found on page, starting on 63. But if you go around to 64, I was very impressed to see that we provided in 2023-24 education to 386 apprentices. There's 365 days of the year. And they provided 386 apprentices within the TC Technical Careers Division and through the Lansing Electrical Joint Apprentice and Training Committee and 46 apprentices in healthcare. This is a lot of work. This is a lot of work. And so sometimes I think we just kind of skirt over some things and think, oh, okay, that's in the board packet, that's all good. So I just wanted to take a moment that this agenda, I'm excited about it when we go to Washington. We know what's coming down the line. Let's not all act like we don't, deer in headlights. We know what's coming down the line. And so having something so concrete and strong like this federal agenda, we can go in there and we can advocate. We don't have to go into other areas and speak on other topics when we have something that will carry us, that substance and has a weight to it. So again, I just wanted to commend Dr. Glasgow. There she is over there. Dr. Glasgow, great job.
Thank you, Chair Matthews. Next after is the monthly financial statements. Again, we bring you monthly financials. Don is here to answer any questions. Looks like Trustee Proctor might have them.
Oh.
Mr. Wilsky, on page 75, it's item exhibit B, line 23, talks about the federal work study program. My question is, how does the federal work study program impact this budget item?
During the pandemic, the Department of Education allowed the college to not use the federal study funds for that purpose, but rather to use it for supplemental education opportunity grants. And the college, during that period of time, paid 100% of the student wages. Now that the pandemic has been completed and that waiver is no longer existing, the college is now using the federal work study allocation that we receive to pay for those students who are eligible to receive that grant. And the remainder of the funds are being spent out of the general fund. So it's the change is because of the pandemic. It's back the way it used to be working.
So it has allowed us to use more student employees.
Yes.
Because that's been an issue for a while, not having a sufficient wage to attract student employees.
It's still a tough market compared to student employment, but it is improving.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Matthews. Last in the monthly monitoring reports for this month is our monthly public safety report. We believe in transparency and policing at LCC, and citizen contact reports are turned into a monthly report that the board receives about activity with our police department and officers. Representatives of the police department are always here to answer questions. It's in the packet.
That's pages 97 and 98.
The chief just instinctively approached the podium.
I was summoned. Okay, where are we?
I don't know if there are specific questions yet, Chief. I was just
Okay.
saying my usual laudatory comments about the transparency of this document. And not sure if trustees have any questions, but the chief and his team are always here to talk about how we keep the campus safe.
Number one stood out.
Number which one?
Number one, stood out. So was that in the building? Was that out of the building?
No, it was an outside complaint, and it was in reference to an incident that LPD was dealing with. Came out as like a armed person call. So our officer spotted the individuals. Individuals took off on our officer, but LPD was around the corner. So they grabbed them up. It turned out the individuals had done, I guess, a robbery maybe 2 hours earlier. So it was good. I mean, it was well done, but it really was unrelated to LCC.
Thank you.
Those are the monthly monitoring reports, Chair Matthews.
Okay. Okay, moving on to policy development, trustee Proctor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm not sure there's anything I need to report on. You have the cover sheet with regard to some of the policy proposed changes, but I'm reflecting back on our approval of the strategic plan. The strategic plan is the methodology or the implementation of those end statements. We had a couple of those changed with regard to how we state our mission as well as our vision statement. Those were done earlier. The rest of this is fairly straightforward. Unless you have some questions, I'm not sure there's anything I should amplify on. This was discussed thoroughly at our November 9th meeting. That's among the trustees or a few staff members there. So if anyone else has any questions, I'm certain that if I can't answer them, somebody here is going to help me. And this is an item for first read. We're not voting on it until next month.
Hearing none. Thank you, trustee Proctor. Moving on to linkage planning and implementation, community linkage chair reports. Nothing too much here. Attended Mr. Allen's ceremony and induction. I just wanted to commend is it Cosgrove?
Yes.
Who does an awesome, wonderful job with the Veterans Memorial induction ceremony. He and his team put a lot of work into that. And so I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to him and his team for every year. It's just wonderful to see and bring attention to those who have served and those who may have transitioned on and those who are still with us. So that's a great job. I will echo what trustee Proctor said about the robust discussion with the board retreat about the strategic plan. Thank you to Dr. Robinson and the entire ELT team for coming out. And it was just really good to sit down and have that discussion and get questions answered. So thank you all so very much for your work. Silver Bells is coming up. We have a fantastic watch party that's going on. If you have not shared that, please share it. The community, last time we did this, it was well attended. It's in a safe environment. It's in Gannon. And to see the kids and their families come out to be in that space and spot is just really, just a great, fuzzy feeling. So come on out. You don't want to be out there in the cold watching everything. You come over here to LCC and again in building. I don't know what we're gonna have, some sprinkles and some ice cream and some something. I don't know what it is, but it's always good. And let's see. Oh, to my colleagues, Ms. Duncan has sent you some communications that is vitally important that you respond to her as soon as you possibly can, before Friday, the 22nd, because we need to get some other business taken care of. So please look at your emails and respond to her. Also, you will see in the front of you that we have a planning calendar, before you. Thank you, Ms. Duncan, very well prepared. And so we pretty much know what's going on with regards to our business and what we need to do. So please govern yourselves accordingly. That's all I have for the chair's report. Now we're moving down to board members' report. Foundation, Trustee Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, I don't have any updates, so all good. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Okay. Seeing none, as it was, agreed upon, closed session for Vice Chair Hildago.
Chair Matthews, before Vice Chair Hidalgo moves us into closed session, would it be okay? I do want to let folks know, there are folks who are here to sign in. We're anxious to hear from you. So I just wanted to let you know that we will be coming back after closed session. So I hope you're still here and able to make public comment. I just wanted to say that before we move to closed session.
I move to enter into a closed session to discuss a privileged and confidential written legal opinion regarding employee benefits under Section 8A, Section 8, 1H of the Open Meetings Act, and is exempt from discussion or disclosure under Section 13(1)(g) of the Michigan Freedom of Information Act. I also move to enter into a closed session to discuss a privileged and confidential written legal opinion regarding the Board of Trustees indemnification policy that is exempt from discussion or disclosure under Section 13(1)(g) of the Michigan Freedom of Information Act.
Thank you, Vice Chair Hidalgo. Just a second. It's been moved by Vice Chair Hidalgo that we enter into closed session regarding the items as aforementioned, approved by trustee, second by Trustee Thomas. I'd like to say to my colleagues that let's immediately advance upstairs so that we have quite a few people who are waiting, so we want to hear from them. So let's immediately move upstairs for these particular two items. Any discussions? All in favor, say aye. All right, let's move into closed session. Oh, but I mean, I saw it. I said I should just, I'm trying to help you. Help myself. Calling the regular board meeting of LCC Board of Trustees back into order. Ms. Duncan, would you take the roll, please?
Terry Frazier,
Here.
Noel Garcia.
Here.
Sadago. Angela Matthews,
Here.
Robert Proctor.
Here.
LaShonda Thomas. Here, Samantha Big.
Next on the agenda is unfinished business, seeing that there is none. New business, seeing that there is none. We advance to public comment. We do have several people that have signed up for public comment, as well as, is there any on the line? Patrick? How many people on the line? Okay. Okay. Just three?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So at this particular time, yeah. At this particular time, it's public comment. Please, ma'am, please, sir. There is a 3-minute limit. So the timer will go off if the conversation or if the statement progresses beyond 3 minutes. You have our attention. I ask that as this is a very sensitive topic, we are definitely aware of that. And as I said, we're here to listen, but we're also here to be respectful of each other. So I ask that we would keep that in mind. And with that, we will move forward. We will do we want to go online first?
Yes.
We'll do online first, and then we will progress to those who have signed up in person. Everybody good? All right. Patrick, first person online.
Go ahead, Cheryl.
Um, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
My name's Cheryl Garida. I'm a member of the LCC Administrators Union AFT to the LCC Labor Coalition Healthcare Task Force. I'm speaking on behalf of AFT members, and I've sent a copy of this statement to Benita so that you all may have a copy. Since the healthcare rate increases were announced, members have reached out to the union board and to healthcare task force members with their concerns. The rate increases range from $50 to $60 per pay period to $100 or over $100 per pay period, depending on the plan. This results in a total monthly increase of $100 to $120 per month to $200 or over $200 per month, and completely eliminates the positive impact of any salary increases that were negotiated in our collective bargaining last year. Please remember that when an employee chooses a healthcare plan for their family, they have to consider the needs of everyone in their family. We have employees with family members dealing with chronic illness, children with disabilities, and family members with ongoing needs for expensive medications and therapies. Our members include people who qualify for Medicare and therefore can no longer contribute to an HSA to help offset healthcare costs. The Healthcare Task Force appreciates the college reopening negotiations, and we ask that you support any positive solutions that the Labor Coalition and college teams can develop to offset the impact of the rate increases on employees. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next, Patrick?
Go ahead, Dustin.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. My name is Dustin Abrego, and I'm a faculty academic advisor here at LCC. I've been in this role for 1.5 years, and I've been in LCC for 3.5 years, and I'm hoping to continue for many more. I'm speaking today in regards to the sudden spike in healthcare costs that I will have having to be paid for the 25 to 26 year. Currently, I'm on the premium plan for the 24 to 25 year. I'd like to continue using this plan, but based on the cost of out-of-pocket costs would increase by over $900 next year, I do not think I can do this. I chose the premium plan because throughout my life growing up in a family that have either not had health insurance, being to them being small business owners. When I was a child, I was in a really severe car accident with my mother. We were told she was never going to walk again. Fortunately, she fought the odds and is walking to this day. For many years afterward, my family was still paying the healthcare costs. When I was in my undergrad, my dad suddenly had a severe brain tumor and had to undergo emergency surgery. I believe they are still paying the cost of that bill today from the follow-up care as well from that procedure that occurred in 2009. At the time, I was debating of dropping out of school to go home and work to help them pay off the healthcare costs. Although I'm relatively still young and take care of myself as best as possible, the thought does cross my mind that I'll have to continue the family pattern of sudden scary health issue. In September, I am eligible for public student loan forgiveness, but with the president-elect, I do not know if that'll ever be a possibility for me moving forward, and I have to factor in another cost that will affect my life here soon. Please hear that I'm fortunate and grateful to be able to work at an institution where I have health insurance, but the sudden jump of cost is making me rethink what I can financially do versus a sudden healthcare cost burden. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Melissa?
Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. Good evening, Chair Matthews, trustees, and President Robinson. My comment isn't about the healthcare plan, but I do want to acknowledge Dustin and thank you, Cheryl, for sharing those comments regarding the AFT union of which I'm a member. So my comment is to share with you and invite you to a number of events. We are just 1 month away from the end of the semester. 4 weeks from today is the end of fall semester, and our students have been doing great work, and there's a number of ways that they're going to be showcasing it. So every semester during the 15th week, Starscapes, the Student Innovation and Creativity Showcase, takes place. Starscapes was created by a group of innovative faculty 10 years ago in 2014 as a means for students to share projects, performances, research, and to give poster presentations, all about the work that they've been doing in their classes with other students and faculty and staff to observe and interact in a sort of fair that now takes place along the Gannon Highway. In December, we'll be doing this the week right after Thanksgiving on Wednesday the 4th and Thursday the 5th from 10 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. And if you have an opportunity to stop by, please do talk with the students, see the interesting and creative work that they're doing, and help us celebrate 10 years of this great showcase. The Performing Arts also has a number of events coming up too this weekend. Trustee Matthews, you mentioned the Silver Bells at the City Watch Party, and our concert choir Madrigal group will be doing a performance at that watch party, adding to the festivities. And then on Sunday, the jazz band is performing a concert in Dart Auditorium in the afternoon. A week later, our rock band is performing off campus at the Avenue, which has kind of become their home away from home. And then on the 10th, the students in the improv class will have an evening of some comic shenanigans in the Black Box Theater. So I hope that you're able to join us for one or more of these events. And as always, really appreciate your support. Thanks for the opportunity to make this comment.
Thank you, Melissa. Could you get those dates of what you just shared? Can you get those to Ms. Benita, please?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. Ms. Benita, who's the first person up for public comment? No? Oh, okay.
My name's Mel Hernandez. I've taught English at LCC for 25 years. The cornerstone of my relationship with students is trust. They need to trust that I respect their abilities, honor their academic goals, and am fully committed to their success and will advocate for them when needed. Building that trust takes time and intentional effort, but it is fragile and easily disrupted. Organizational theorists like Peter Senge, Rosebeth Moss Kenner, and Stephen Covey also emphasize that trust is equally critical in learning organizations. Peter Drucker famously said, organizations are no longer built on force, but on trust. This principle applies not just to the relationship between faculty and students, but also to the relationship between faculty and administration. As the members of the Board of Trustees, the importance of trust is central to your role as well. The very title of trustee implies both responsibility and accountability. Trustees are entitled with the care of the institution, and this trust should be reciprocal. During our recent contract negotiation, faculty bargained in good faith, trusting that the college valued our professional capabilities and academic contributions. However, the unexpected doubling of our healthcare premiums went way beyond our salary increases we negotiated and have shaken my faith in the college respect for its employees. It also raises questions about the college commitment to its promises. Are we to believe that the college chief financial officer was unaware of such a substantial increase in healthcare costs, or that the college bargained in good faith if such critical information was either overlooked or not disclosed? I bring these concerns to the Board of Trustees because my ability to do my job effectively relies on trust, and that trust has been undermined. Well, I do not teach for money. I do work here for healthcare. Thank you.
Have to bring my entourage. Before I get started on my statement, I just want to say Happy Native American Heritage Month to all of you folks today. Good evening. My name is Eva Menifee. I'm the lead faculty advisor here at Lansing Community College. I've worked at the college now for a little over 30 years. I'm also the current MAHI president, and I'm a member of the Healthcare Task Force. Tonight, I was thinking about what am I going to tell the Board of Trustees about our healthcare? Because they're going to hear from everybody how disappointed we were that our healthcare got so high. You know, right now, I have worked in higher education for over 40 years. Right now, I am probably making the most money I will ever make because I chose such a wonderful profession that pays me such billions of dollars every year. Right now, because I'm coming near the end of my career, I know that one of the things that I need to have, very much so, is healthcare. Primarily because my husband had a tragic thing happen to us this year when he picked us up, we had colon cancer. I was very surprised but happy that my healthcare was able to pay for all of his treatments, and that I can now say after 1 full year, he is cancer-free. But I'm very sad that in this upcoming year, the raise that I negotiated for our faculty and staff and my raise that I got this year will be nothing because of the increase in healthcare. My raise this year is about $2,036. My healthcare costs is $2,479, not including the $1,650 deductible that I have to pay. For me personally, this is real money. My husband's retired and we live on a single income like we've done our whole life. Used to be I could go into my food truck and get a little cash on the side running our small business. But I found that the older that I get, the less and less that I can do that. I really appreciate all the things that I've been able to accomplish here at Lansing Community College, because I love LCC. If I didn't love it, I wouldn't have been here as long as I have. I'm just kind of disappointed in this and the way that we found out. I don't blame anybody. I understand the rising costs in healthcare and everything around here. Yes, I paid $3.59 for a gallon of milk at Costco the other day. So I understand that. I just wish that in the past, the college really looked a little bit more to help their employees. Because this isn't just for MAHI or ASP or AFT. It's for everybody, everybody. I work here for every student that I see every day. And right now I'm asking the board to look for every employee that steps foot on this campus. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bonita.
All right, forgive me before I start. I prepared my remarks for 5 minutes, only finding out that it's 3 upon showing up here. So if I jump around a little bit, I apologize. Good evening, trustees. My name is Dave Wassinger. I am on staff here at LCC. I'm also an adjunct in the DMAC program. But tonight I rise to speak with you as president of the ASP union. In the last few weeks, I've been hearing from our members with a few common themes of shock and wonder. Shock at yet another major increase in the necessity of life, and wonder at how things are going to play out and how they will be able to keep meeting the needs of their family. We are not a union of employees with lots of margin. Our average hourly rate between our full and part-time members is just $23 an hour. But we have members making as little as $15 an hour. And while we look forward to addressing these pay tables in upcoming bargaining this year, you can imagine stories I have heard since the new insurance premiums were released. Stories like a member questioning how they are going to pay for the same plan they currently have, but the price has gone up $170 a month. Or one from another member who decided his family will be opting out of the LCC insurance plans for an inferior plan from his spouse. Stories of members like one who emailed me with the subject line, "This is where it hurts." Stories of families like mine, a family of 5 with 3 kids that despite having dual incomes, simply has little room to maneuver. It is because of these stories and because of the stories of the speakers before me that I ask that the board move and do one thing they can do to help us out. And that is to move the college to the 80-20 plan as available under the law. I don't make this ask lightly. I understand that moving to the 80-20 option would cost more for the college. It would also unbalance some of the plans, but I think doing so in a graduated manner where some plans pay above that 20% would bring some parity to between those plans. You can do this with just a simple majority vote. The labor leaders and membership on this campus are not ignorant to the fact that the board has to be good stewards of the college's finances. But the board has faced and looked at options that the board has faced and seen these options in other items that they have taken up in the consent agenda with little to no debate before. At your April meeting, it was approved FIO to request proposals for plumbing, electrical, and HVAC supplies totaling $500,000. Or June, it was approved for a multi-year, multi-million-dollar contract for architectural and engineering services. These are no doubt very important to the operation of the college, but they are missing one thing: the people. The people like faculty and staff who interact with students every day, people like administrators that make sure the programs and classes are running as they should. These people are the things that are worth spending money on. They are the heartbeat of LCC. Every day we tell community that they belong here. Trustees, action from you can go a long way to reassuring my members and all employees that LCC is not a place to clock in and out, but a place where they are wanted and where they too belong. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Benay. Andy, thank you, Ms. Bonita. Sorry, Andy Brent.
Good evening. My name is Andy Brent. I'm a public relations coordinator at LCC. and interim president of the college's AFT local, on behalf of which I'm speaking tonight. The financial hardships our membership will experience due to this healthcare situation will erase many, if not all, of the raises my union board bargained for this summer. Since word about the raises in healthcare costs came about last week, I've had direct communication from more than a dozen union members. Many members are seeing increases approaching or exceeding 30% in real healthcare costs. One particular example provided to me sticks out. Currently, the member pays $500 out of each paycheck, not including dental or vision coverage. When this member entered open enrollment for 2025, they learned their new cost will be $635 from each paycheck. Healthcare will now account for 40% of their take-home pay, again, without dental or vision. As the college seeks to become an employer of choice for Greater Lansing, I hope its board will give these issues due consideration. And on a personal level, I sat in negotiations with the college this summer with a stent in my left kidney, working on a kidney stone. Those negotiations were held up from one of the college's negotiating parties, overseeing aluminum siding being put in on his house, while I sat there with a stent in my kidney in pain because I couldn't take the medication that would get rid of the pain and negotiate for my union. The debt I incurred from that situation is not paid. I have 2 children. I have a wife. My wife makes in excess of $90,000 a year. Every month I decide if I'm going to pay for my student loans or my health care. Now you'll see I'm wearing LCC track. I coach the throws for our college for free. I'm a public information officer on the Emergency Operations Command. I'm on the Clery Committee. I go over the line for the college every day. I try to go over the line for my membership. I'd like the board to be similarly demonstrative in their efforts for the people of this college.
Elizabeth Clifford.
Hi, good evening. Elizabeth Clifford, Learning Commons. I'm part of the MAC Union. I've been a part of healthcare negotiations and healthcare task force for several contracts now. This rate increase impacts all full-time people across the college and those few part-time who qualify. Very few qualify now. The college has been very, very effective on getting part-timers off of healthcare. For those that are impacted by these rates, I've heard shock, dismay, concern, not even wanting to open the file, kind of like, oh my goodness, what is this? Comments like, I don't know how my family can afford this. I just want all of you to hear how difficult this is for our people. I'd also like to share comments from Alexandra Carpio, English faculty. She wasn't able to stay for the whole meeting. She said she's very grateful for the recent FMLA leave. Her mother recently passed and she was able to be with her last 2 weeks. She said, we are all human beings with lives, just like our students, and having healthcare that is affordable is essential. Thank you.
Anicia Dillard from Lansing.
Good evening. I'm Anicia Dillard. I have been at LCC the last 10 years in the Center for Teaching Excellence, and I currently serve as our program and office specialist. Briefly, I too have concerns about the changes to our health care insurance premiums for 2025 and endorse all of the comments that have been made by my colleagues this evening. That, however, is not the reason I'm making a public comment today. Our Eva Menifee also said Happy Native American Heritage Month, and I want to wish everyone the same. In September 2021, the LCC Board of Trustees made a resolution to support the recognition of the use of land acknowledgement and to celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day at LCC. I'm speaking today in hopes of keeping this work alive and to stand in solidarity with our Indigenous faculty, staff, and students. First, I would like to read LCC's land acknowledgement. Lansing Community College occupies the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the Anishinaabe, Three Fires Confederacy of Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi peoples. In particular, the city of Lansing and LCC reside on land ceded in the 1819 Treaty of Saginaw. While all of our campuses are beautiful and inviting, we remember that we are guests as we walk on Mother Earth. As we delight in the sounds of the Grand River, we remember that this waterway has been used by the original inhabitants of this land daily for farming and transportation between Portland and Okemos. We would like to take a moment to acknowledge our relationship with Indigenous communities, especially as we examine our relationship with our Indigenous faculty, staff, and students, and their contributions to the LCC community. Each day as we walk on each of our campuses, we remember that similar footsteps were walked along these same paths for generations before us. As we honor those who have walked these paths before us and the 7 generations to come, we reflect on how we honor them in our interactions with Indigenous communities, the land, and all of humankind. I humbly ask the board to revisit the resolution made on September 20th, 2020 and 2021, and reflect on its promises and subsequent action. Also, that considerable, I don't know what I was trying to say there, considerable consideration is made to include LCC's land acknowledgement in board meetings moving forward. Thank you.
My hand. Thank you, everyone. Next is board comment. Board comment. Thank you for staying. It's been a lengthy evening. Voices are heard. And trying to gather some something. The holidays are upon us. It's going to be a little rough for a lot of people. And so even as we journey through this and walk through some of the things that we have heard this evening, it is my hope that we will really help each other get through this season, because we're human too, and we have our situations that happen as well. So hopefully we can help each other have a best holiday as we possibly can. So with that note, Thanksgiving is coming up. For some people, there is going to be an empty seat at the table. So I'm hoping that those people will be kept in thoughts, prayers, and that again, we help each other get through this season. And we do truly appreciate you staying and allowing conversations to take place and information to be disseminated. So we do, the board appreciates that. Are there any other? No? Okay. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. It's been moved by Trustee Thomas, second by Trustee Frazier for us to adjourn this board meeting. All in favor say aye. Any nays? Meeting adjourned.